Welcome to Civil Air Patrol PAO Bootcamp. This is part 3. My name is Major Robert Bowen. I'm the Great Lakes Region Director of Public Affairs, and I'm going to be your instructor tonight. I would like to remind everyone that this workshop is being recorded and will be posted on the Michigan Wing website in the coming days. Now, in today's session, we're going to be talking about the website transition. But before we jump into that, there's a couple housekeeping items we need to go over. First, we have some upcoming public affairs academies. We have the Ohio Wing Conference. That's Sunday, May 15th, and I'll be instructing from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. doing a one-day PAO academy. That's going to be in conjunction with the Ohio Wing Conference, so you can attend the full normal conference on Saturday and then join me on Sunday and take the PAO Academy. Now, the big one that's coming up is the National Public Affairs Academy. That's going to be held in conjunction with the National Conference, and that's going to be the 10th and 11th of August. And those are 2 full days. Now, if you have questions on either of those sessions, please let me know. Hope to see you all there, especially at the National PAO Academy. We got a huge lineup of speakers from across the country. I'll be presenting. You have Colonel Salzman, the National Public Affairs Officer, Julie DeBartolini, the National Deputy Director of Public Affairs for CAP, as well as numerous other people from across the country. So taking a look at the agenda for today, we're going to start off taking a review of the CAP pamphlet 201, which is the Specially Tracked Guide for Public Affairs, and where you should be at. Now, you should each have a copy of the pamphlet, and as you're going through these trainings and working with your on-site mentors and the unit personnel within your squadron, you should be checking off these tasks as you're accomplishing them. From there, we're going to jump into the website to talk about why we need new websites, both the unit and the wing level. We're going to talk about some WordPress basics, and then I'm going to actually show you the full demo. So taking a look at the sign-off tasks. So some of the items that you should have accomplished are in the yellow boxes. So by now you should have met with your unit commander, been talking with them about this activity, these PAO boot camps you've been attending, and come up with a quarterly plan. Talk to them about some of the things we've discussed, and then plan out the next quarter for your unit. Contact the next higher echelon PAO. Many of you have done that already. I have a lot of the emails from you guys, as well as the national PAO. Make sure you're still doing that if you've not done so already. Now, not last month, but the month before, we talked about social media. And IS-42 and IS-242 were 2 online FEMA courses that we encourage you to complete between last session and today's session. Now, continuing on, you should have gone through and have your crisis communication plan written, as well as compiled a list of your local media. You also will put together your PAO how-to media kit. So the how-to guide is going to walk you through what you need in the media kit. And it's going to basically tell you to reference the national website for regular updates to that media kit as necessary. Finally, after last session, hopefully you've gone back and given a 15-minute presentation to your squadron members on CAP's social media policy. So of the 19 tasks to earn the technician rating, you've already completed 10 of them. After today, we'll knock a couple more off that list. But I do want to pause here real fast to see if there's any questions so far here today. Okay, not seeing any questions, so we will keep on moving. Looks like we have a few people that just joined us. Great to see so many of you tonight. We're at 31 people so far, which is great to see. So there's 3 main questions that people have been asking me as I've been talking to the wings and the units about the transition. First off, why do we need a new website? Why do we even have a website? And why does my flight unit wing squadron need a website at all? So let's open up to the first question. Why do we need new unit websites? So in the chat box, why don't you tell me why you think we need new websites? So Matthew said uniformity. Anyone else? Consistency, recruitment. Great. Few people agreeing with Matthew. Lieutenant House, conformity. branding, all news is local, ease of maintenance, consistent message throughout the organization. These are all great answers here. Get in touch with each other, outdated. So yeah, so one of the major problems CAP has right now is we don't have a unified brand. That's one thing that CAP's been working really hard over the last year or 2 years is to try to uniform the brand. Now, I guess going into the next question, why do we even have the website? What is the primary purpose of a unit or really a wing website? Go ahead and put that in the chat what you think the primary purpose of the website is. So we got share important information, communication with members, information communication, getting the message out, no longer the best kept secret, broadcast events, communication between us, between the squadron. The biggest reason we have websites is recruitment. Plain and simple. If we didn't care about recruiting and retention, we would not have unit websites. So the number one reason why we have websites is for recruitment. Now, given that we know that now, that means we need to gear our websites towards recruitment. I don't care if you post information about, I don't know, the PT testing results from last month. That, to me, is someone from the outside I could care less about. What I want to care about is how do I join the squadron? Where do I even find the squadron? Who's a contact person for this unit? What is Civil Air Patrol? I know nothing about it. And all too often, especially in social media, people treat recruitment towards the cadet members. They're trying to recruit the 12 to 18-year-olds. Now, I'll tell you something. You are completely wrong if you're doing that. You should not be trying to recruit the kids. Who should you be trying to recruit? The parents. Because if mom doesn't like what she sees on the website, she's not going to bring little Timmy to your meeting. Now, once Timmy's there, he may check out the website too and say, hey, cool, this is really neat. But you're really marketing to the parents. If you ever get the chance to attend some of the recruiting webinars put on by Colonel Ninnis, Colonel Ninnis is a great person in terms of recruiting and retention. And one of the things that he really stresses is you're not marketing to the kids. I mean, yes, you want to have flashy videos and make it appealing to them to get their interest, but you're really marketing to those parents. And does your flight unit, wing, squadron, etc. even need a website? And absolutely. And that's part of the reason why we're going to these new branded templates, is it allows you to very quickly take a look at that and say, okay, this is where Squadron A meets, and this is where Squadron B meets, and now I know how to contact that squadron, and they have a few local pictures, and okay, I feel more comfortable sending them there. It adds legitimacy to the organization. And we'll talk about making sites legitimate in a few minutes. So let me get rid of the chat there real fast. Okay, so why do we need a website? And this is coming straight from the strategic plan. America's best kept secret, not anymore. So in the strategic plan, this is 2016 to 2020, it states, and this is like one of the front bold items, to be successful, CAP requires a consistent brand to voice and a unified one CAP look and feel in order to establish brand identity with our internal and external audiences. Now, in part, you've already seen that in action. We started combining down Facebook pages to one per echelon. We've issued the branding resource guide. We've put out the CAT Pamphlet 152, the social media guide. A little bit more on the internal side is we've revamped CAT Pamphlet 201, the PAO specialty track. So all these changes are going to make sure that we're no longer the best kept secret. Now, in the strategic plan, Annex 2016. There's two goals specifically that we're working to achieve. First one's goal 7.6. Maintain an effective nationwide CAP brand awareness program. And within that, there are three objectives. Provide training designated to teach the PAO how to establish social media platforms and how to use them effectively. That is part of the PAO Academy. That's a large reason why we are doing this training. We now have established objective 7.6.1. That's now taken care of. Expand CAP's online branding resources to enhance impact. You'll notice that we are trying really hard to make sure people are using the correct graphics. The triangle prop here is what should be on the majority of your material. There's very few exceptions why you should be using the command patch or you should be using the circle CAP crest. You should definitely not be using the old Hap Arnold wings. Those are no longer authorized. There's a little chart that shows all three authorized logos and when their appropriate usage is. And the vast majority of the time, the triangle prop is the appropriate method to be used. And that includes a website, social media, and branding for recruiting materials. Now, in goal 7.7, establish accountability for CAP's public online presence to effectively manage all social media and digital channels that represent the organization. So we've already talked about that a little bit because in last week's session we talked about having the next higher echelon PAO, such as if you're a unit in the wing PAO needs to be an admin on your Facebook page or on your website. And that goes directly to goal 7.7 is we need accountability. These are CAP assets. They're CAP property. Just because you set the Facebook page up, you set the website up, does not make it yours. You're doing it for CAP, and CAP owns that property. So objective 7.7.1, improve brand recognition. We are doing that through the website updates. We are doing a standard branded website from the unit level to the wing level to the region level, and then soon, and actually national is still on the template, and they're working on redoing the national website to make it a little easier to get around. It's gotten really, really big, lots of pages, and I expect over the next year or so to see that really a lot of the fluff, a lot of the extra stuff cut out, and it really being the key information only there. So if you don't believe me now from what the strategic plan says, what we've been instructed by the wing and region commanders to do, now we're going to go with what the Air Force wants through the Wing Compliance Inspection Guide. Now, if you're not familiar with the compliance inspection process, this is where the Air Force comes in and will inspect the wings. It's very similar to the SUI process you'll go through at the unit level. And for public affairs is section D6. And there's a couple questions on here that pertain specifically to websites and social media. So does the public access wing website comply with CAP regulations? And there's 4 questions that ask with that. 1, does the PAO or the commander's designee create the public website? Yes or no? Does the PAO or designee maintain the public access website content? Yes or no? Does the PAO have authority over all content posted to the wing website? So you know this refers to talk about the designee. This could be the IT officer, for example. But when you hit point C, does the PAO have authority over all public content? If you as the PAO are not in charge and managing every word, every picture, every piece of information that's publicly accessible on the web, you will fail this question. And one thing I get asked all the time is, well, this website's just for our members only. It doesn't matter. If it's accessible by the public, it's not behind some sort of login portal, it's public affairs arena. And D, Is information posted on the public website accurate and current? Less than 6 months old. And during the evaluation, they will go through and look at your website. If something's older than 6 months and is not timeless, that will be a discrepancy. You will get a write-up because of that. So I see there's a couple questions. Let me pull that up real fast. Yes, so Suzette, so in Michigan, or actually in any of your wings, the wing PAO needs to be an admin on your wing or on your unit level pages. So in Michigan, we're doing that automatically by when we deploy the new website for you, you'll notice there's an account called MIWG admin or MIWG PAO. That account will automatically be there, and that's how we have accountability still. On social media, you must manually add me if you're in Michigan as an admin on your Facebook page. You have to do that. That's not an optional thing. So the question Kim asked about what's being done to supplement the brand strategy outside of the websites. How will we increase traffic to and appeal to seniors using the same media as we are cadets? That's a good question because the thing is, it's really a two-pronged approach. I mean, yes, you're marketing to cadets saying how you have aerospace education, we're involved in STEM, we do emergency services. And all that stuff attracts cadets, but at the same time, it's going to attract seniors, it's going to attract adults as well because people want to give back. They want to volunteer. They want to give you their money. So all you have to do is put in a format that kind of appeals to them. One of the things we're doing is with the websites, there's a standard set of pages that at least in Michigan, every squadron is going to have on their website. I don't care if you're in the northern Michigan, you're in the UP, you're in Detroit, or the west side of the state. It doesn't matter where you are. You're going to have these same standard pages on your website. Now, I'm going to be working with each wing within the region, such as Ohio, Kentucky, Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, to determine what pages fit their needs. And they may not require a specific set of pages, but in Michigan, we do. Now, units from there can add on additional pages, and we'll see that here in a few minutes. So any other questions before we keep moving? Okay, so Paul, the regulation that requires PAO, the wing level, to be admin on the squadron level resources is CAP Pamphlet 152, as well as the strategic plan. Correct. So there's two questions I think that are being asked here. First one is, we are a squadron that someone set up a website for us, maybe the previous PAO, previous commander, and now they are no longer around. They're not there. You don't have access to your website anymore. And that's a major problem. That's the reason why we're going to centralize management. Okay, so we'll keep on moving now with some website examples. So here's some examples of good websites. Because up until now, we really haven't had a uniform template, a look and feel that needed to be maintained. Now, there's some always pros and cons and some minor things that every site's going to have. So you got 3 examples here. The Kevin A. Adams Squadron from Michigan. It's a good-looking site. However, one thing you notice is there's no branding. There is no CAP seal on there. No one knows by looking at it visually that CAP unless you actually read the text. Next, we have the Willow Run Squadron. And the Willow Run Squadron, it looks good. It's a visually appealing site. It gets the job done. It does a very good job at it. My biggest thing with theirs is the logo. The graphic they're using on their website is incorrect. It should be the triangle prop. And finally, the third one, you have a Selfridge Squadron. Good site, tons and tons of information on it. It's just a little bit difficult to get around in its built-in Wix. It's a free site. It's not a bad site, but we can definitely take all 3 of these sites to the next level. We can keep all the information they're using, the same content, and just transfer it into the new template system. So these squadrons are going to have a really easy time moving to the new platform. Now here's some sites that need improvement. You got 3 sites here. They're not as visually entertaining. They don't catch your eye as much. Some of them are a little bit dated, more stock photos. And while they're not bad, there's definitely room that they can be improved upon. Now, here's what I hate to see. Missing or dead websites. So the link's dead. The site was taken offline. You go to the link and it gives connection timeouts, or there's just nothing there, or it's one line of text. These do you much more harm than good. Now, here's the problem. It's very difficult to get rid of some of these sites. Prime example, this Mustang Cadet Squadron. They actually have at least 2 that I know of websites out there that were created by former members. And unfortunately, those people said, no, I don't care. I'm just going to leave this up, and I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm not going to help you take it down. I'm not going to cooperate. Pretty much, screw you guys. You're on your own. And then it becomes a real mess trying to get that taken down. So that's why we're going with unified branding in terms of the names, the URLs, where it's hosted, and who has access to the hosting, is to prevent these missing and dead websites. So here's what the brand new website looks like. Now, all units are going to have the same look and feel. You have a slideshow at the top. You're going to have a set of tabs along the top of the page. And then you have your unit editable pages going down the left-hand side. So at least in Michigan, and I'm going to recommend this for the whole region, the tabs at the top of the unit level pages will be static. Every unit will get the exact same pages. And the first thing you notice is join CAP. We want to get people to join. I don't care if Joe Bob, the local member, wants to see his name on the website. I want to see that new cadet, that new parent, quickly being able to click and find out information on joining CAP. You have a link off to the Wing website. Right now we have the 75th anniversary, which is a major initiative that we have links for. Once that 75th anniversary is done next year, that tab will be removed and we'll replace it with something else. And then ability to donate. Now the donate link is going to take you to the Wing website. It'll be a donation to the Wing through the Wing's PayPal system versus unit by unit taking donations. So here's a couple questions. Yes, this is a WordPress-based site, exactly. And we'll be talking more about WordPress here in a few minutes. Yes, the template is responsive. You can use it on your phone, on iPads, on tablets. It works pretty well on those. I've been playing with it on my multiple devices. I even have my old BlackBerry phone, and it still works on my BlackBerry pretty well. So the tab at the top for donate. For Michigan, it's been decided that the donation will link back to the Wing. And then at the Wing level, people can choose if they want to donate to a special type of event, such as, say, aviation. They want to help cadets learn to fly, or they want to donate to search and rescue or cadet programs. So there's some broad categories. It's up to your unit and your Wing specifically to decide if they want to allow donations direct to the unit. So the template was developed by national headquarters, and then with the help of a member from Illinois Wing, Captain Evan Youngblood, his company actually was able to fix some of the issues with the template that National created, and that is the new template that we'll be using nationwide. So in the sense of the backend, the coding was created by National with the assistance of a member from Illinois Wing. But in terms of like the pages that you'll have, the tabs at the top, that's up to the Wing, if they so desire, to decide what you want to allow. Right now, the donate button, if you click on that, that will go into the Wings pot. It's not going to go to the individual squadron. That's something that we're looking at, the ability to have donations go to an individual squadron. Currently, no one, at least in my research of the Great Lakes region, is taking donations on their website directly to their squadron. As far as I've seen, there may be one or two out there I missed, but as far as we've seen across the region, no one is taking online donations. So we're still building out the donation form. For example, right now you could donate to flight training for cadets. You could donate to encampment, SAR Academy, ES, etc. Jim, will Wings develop guidelines for pages? So yes, at the region level, we are going to put out a best practice guide. for websites within Great Lakes region. If you're outside the region, I know some of you are on this call, that's a little bit beyond what I have the ability at this point to kind of direct and oversee. But for the region, we're going to recommend that they have a standard set of tabs at the top, at the very least the first 3 tabs. If you don't want to have the donate tab in your wing for your units, that's fine. But I'm going to recommend, now this is a recommendation, to the other wings outside Michigan. Michigan, you get this. You don't have a choice. If you're outside Michigan, the tabs at the top will be recommendation, as well as the red highlighted pages, the welcome, how to join, squadron meeting location, and contact us will be the bare minimum pages that will be pushed out to your unit. So if you're in Michigan, you will get this automatically within the next couple weeks. If you're outside Michigan, we have a tentative timetable to roll them out, but it really depends on wing by wing. So Suzette, what wing are you in right now? Yeah, so Suzette, if you're in Michigan, depending on what unit you're in, you may have this later this week, or it may take me a couple weeks to get them all rolled out. They take about 30 minutes roughly per website for me to set up. Now what we do is we set up a basic site for you, basically what you see highlighted in the red tabs and some stock photos in the slideshow. From there, we will give your unit PAO and unit commander login ability, and they'll be able to log in, or you'll be able to log in and add additional pages. You can modify stuff as needed. Terry, I don't have any information on Colorado specifically. However, these websites, the templates are available right now. So you could set this up tomorrow. Now, this is the big key that you need to remember. For Great Lakes region, we are going to centralize management. Now, what does centralized management mean? That means individual units are not hosting the websites. The hosting is all done at the wing level. And there's pros and cons to that. One of the cons is right now they're updating our hosting database, so all the wing websites are offline at the moment. Suzette, yeah, so all units in Michigan Wing, all 48 or 47 units are going to get the site pushed for them automatically. You don't need to do anything. It's going to automatically happen for you if you're in Michigan. So what's the benefits of the new website? So we're going to put the control of the websites back under CAP's corporate control. Remember, these are corporate assets. Just like if you were issued a radio or a vehicle or airplane, that's not your personal airplane right now. It's not your personal minivan that you can drive around to McDonald's or pick the kids up from soccer practice. They're company corporately owned assets. And CAP's honestly about 5 to 10 years late to this game. Any other organization out there, if you look at Red Cross, Boy Scouts to an extent, pizza chains. So if you go and order Jet's Pizza, Domino's Pizza, all of their websites look the exact same, and there's a reason for that. Individual Domino's stores aren't going to set up their own pizza website. No, they're going to use the nationally hosted one for them. Same thing with CAP. We're going to the wing level hosting. What that's going to do is going to prevent 2 things. First off, if a person gets pissed off at CAP and says, "No, what? I hate you all. I want to destroy the CAP website for my squadron." Even if that person has login access, what they do not have is they do not have root access to the hosting. Only the wing PAO and the wing IT officer and his staff have access to that. So that way, if a unit member goes crazy and defaces the website, we can, within a few minutes, delete all that content off and restore it back to the way it was. You'll be back to the default template, but we'll be able to, within minutes, wipe that all out and restore your content. The other thing is it prevents people from saying, "No, I'm pissed off now. I'm taking my website home and I'm not going to play with you guys anymore." Those dead and missing websites we looked at earlier, those will be a thing of the past with the wing centralized management hosting. Jim brings up a good point. WordPress does have a revision history. So if it's, say, they just defaced one page or something, we can go in and just roll that revision back. Great point. I'll be showing that in a little bit. So Jeff, if you want to add, say, a new page on the left-hand navigation where you had those 6 or 7 different pages. If you want to add a new one, your unit already has access. So in your unit, Matt Thompson and Luke Bungie have access to edit the site already. So just let them know, and they can make that, or let me know, and I can make the change from Wing. That's another major advantage, and Jeff actually brought up that great point. By having the centralized management, myself as the Wing PAO or the Wing IT officer can log into your site and help you guys out, which is something that currently we can't do. So there's another good question Glenn brought up about what is timeless content. Timeless content is stuff that doesn't expire, such as your meeting location, a map to your meeting, squadron contact information. Well, that one actually could expire if you change out your squadron commander or who your recruiting officer is. So that would change. So yes, we are in the process of building a large database of kind of CAP stock imagery, pictures from within each wing, and that way you could say, I need a picture of a Cessna 172 taking off. We will have that. You need a picture of cadets pre-flighting an airplane, or cadets marching at encampment, or you need cadets from Kentucky Wing, so you need to see the Kentucky Wing patch, something like that. This is going to take a couple years to build this out the way I want, but eventually we'll have this huge multimedia library where you can pull images like that from. And it starts with good PAOs at local level taking good quality pictures. If they're not high quality pictures, they're worthless in this endeavor. Okay, not seeing any other questions. So additional benefits of the new website. So we talked about them being centrally managed. The hosting is free. So we're using a service from DreamHost. They're a hosting provider similar to like GoDaddy or some of the other hostings out there. And they give us free hosting for nonprofits. They're really good. We've been using them for, oh man, more than that, probably 8-9 years in CAP and Michigan Wing. Just today happens to be offline because they're doing some site updates for us in the back end. But yeah, usually they have very, very good uptime and reliability time. So there is some basic SEO tools in there. Some of that will be able to come from plugins that you can install as well. The template itself is actually pretty bare bones. There's not a ton of extra bells and whistles built into the CAP template. It was designed to be really streamlined, really easy to use, especially if you've never worked with websites before. That way advanced users, they can kind of customize the add in, where the basic user they have just what they need. So with the hosting, that is going to be up to each wing to set up. I'll be working with the wing PAOs and the wing IT officers directly to configure that hosting for you. Units will not be able to install any plugin. We're going to have a list of approved plugins. We don't have it quite yet, but there will be a list of some approved plugins. The easiest way your site gets hacked is using a plugin, say from a third-party website, something like that. That's the easiest way hackers get into your site. So Kelly has a question saying, our kids like to see the pictures on the website. Are you saying that pictures will now be at your discretion? No, that's not what we're saying. Initially, when we deploy the site, we're going to look if you have a Facebook page or an existing site and pull that content as much as possible into your new site. From there, it's up to the unit to update the photos on their site. So in Michigan Wing, we have a centralized photo hosting service called SmugMug, where we host all of our encampment photos, SAR Academy photos, all of the major wing event photos go into this one repository. All of the units will have space, actually they already do, have space within this photo hosting site. So you'll have a link that says photos, you click on that, and then you'll be taken to our wing photo hosting site where you can view all your folders that you set up for the squadron. Yeah, we use SmugMug. We've been using it for many years. Last year we had 3.2 million photo views on our SmugMug. Truly, truly amazing the results we get using SmugMug. So Craig has a question. You're currently using a free WordPress site. Will Illinois Wing push out the new template with a new address? It depends. Are you hosting your WordPress at the Wing level, or are you hosting your site locally? So if you're hosting local, what my recommendation to each Wing is that they set up a new WordPress site for you at the Wing level, because that goes back to this whole list of benefits of the new site. If it's hosted locally, or even on WordPress, there is no centralized management. So you could take that site and delete it tomorrow, and no one at the Wing level could stop you. That's the reason why we're going to centrally manage hosting. So everything that we're covering here with websites in about 2 years is going to completely change again. This is only a temporary solution. What CAP National is doing, they announced this at the last national conference. National is going to start doing nationally hosted sites. So everything will be hosted by national headquarters. It will not be WordPress. Well, it may be WordPress, may not. They're still looking into the platform. But it's all going to be nationally hosted. And if you're assigned as the PAO to your unit, you'll have access to log in. Now, that's a couple years away. But eventually, that is what will be coming down the road. And then they will control the template. They'll control the plugins. They'll control everything. You just add your local content. So we're not quite there yet. This is kind of like the middle step. What my goal and hope is, now this is just my own personal hope, is that they'll see how well we did deploying the new websites and the templates in Great Lakes region. And they'll say, no, the regions are able to handle this by themselves. We don't need to host this all nationally. Again, pros and cons to doing it nationally. That's just my personal belief. I like to try to keep as much as I can down in the control of the individual units, because National's got enough other stuff to worry about as well. But that's just my personal belief. That's nothing official by any means. That's just Robert Bowden, Joe Schmo guy. Kelly, that is correct. So if you have a current website before the year is over, that site will be obsolete. And we're going to take a look at the proposed schedule of transition. It's the very last slide today. So we'll take a look at the transition plan, the very last thing today. So additional benefits. All domains will be named the same way. For example, right now the region site is glr.cap.gov. Wing websites will be your 4-letter designator, so in this case miwgcap.gov or ilwg or ilwgcap.gov or wiwg.cap.gov, whatever it is. And then your unit will be on the front, so mi123.miwg.cap.gov. This is going to be the same across the board. So all wings, all regions, all units should be using the standard naming convention. Now that being said, say you went out and you bought a domain. You own livoniacap.org or oaklandcomposite.com or whatever the case may be. You can still keep that domain. You just have to redirect it to the new hosting. And your unit IT officer should be able to help you with that. So you just need to redirect it to that new domain. Jeremy, you will not have database access on the server. Now, this is a generalization, but there's only, that I know of, one website in Michigan that actually uses some sort of back-end login or some sort of external database. We will handle those on a case-by-case basis, but as a general rule, no, units will not have access to any back-end server or even the back-end hosting. They'll only have access to the front-end WordPress admin panel. And that's pretty standard with any organization. We're actually giving you more access than most organizations would give to individual unit levels. Yes, you can keep your old domain name. You basically would set up a forward, say it was abc.com, would then redirect you to mi123.miwg.cap.gov. Now the DNS naming will be managed at national. So your individual unit does not need to contact national headquarters. One request should be sent up per wing. And basically it's going to say, we just set up our DreamHost account. Here's the IP of our DreamHost hosting. Here are all the units, all 37 units. Here are their MI123, MI124, MI125, etc. And then national will set up all the A records, all the DNS records to point to your appropriate sites. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, don't worry about it because this will be handled by the IT side at Wing. You don't need to worry about host names or DNS or anything like that. That will all be handled at the Wing level. So a couple great questions. First one is, can you point certain parts of your website to another site that requires a login? Unknown at this time. Best practice would be yes. However, that takes us back to the issue of centralized management because it would not be centrally managed. However, I only care about the public-facing content. I don't care if you set up a login portal and it leads to Hello Kitty and pink fuzzy bunnies. I don't care what you have on your admin backend portal. I only care about what is publicly viewable. So I think that answered both Jim and Jeremy's question. Craig, does the template include a calendar? We decided not to build a calendar in by default, but what you can do is you can set up a Google Calendar and you can easily embed it. So it works very similar to HTML. So if you have a Google Calendar a form like a Google Doc or something that you need to embed, it literally takes 3 seconds to copy the embed link into WordPress, and now you have your Google Calendar showing up on your site. But there is no native functionality calendar built into WordPress itself. Yep, and we do, yes, good question, Sam. We do recommend Google Calendars because that's what the wings, at least in Great Lakes region, are using. So you can take your unit Google Calendar and you can sync it so it will automatically download all the events from, say, the Wing calendar or from another one. So all the hosting will be set up at mixxx.miwg.cap.gov, for example. Now, if you have your own unit names, such as skyhawks.org, you can set that name up and it will redirect to it, but the actual hosting, what you'll see in the URL bar, is still going to be mi123.miwg.cap.gov because that's what's actually going to be installed on the hosting of the WordPress. Yes, and it should be able to fully integrate services like Google Drive, Google Docs. There are a plugin for a slideshow. So the slideshow is on the main page. It's called Meta Sliders, the one we use, that does your slideshow at the top of every page. Photo galleries, at least in Michigan, we're going to be linking off to SmugMug, but you could use the other one. For contact forms, sign-up forms, we're using a program called Woofoo, W-U-F-O-O. We're looking at setting up a region account for Woofoo. Very clean spreadsheets in terms of sign-up sheets, payment, online payments. That's all coming. That functionality is not here quite yet, but will be in the very near future. Wing does not need access to your unit's Google Calendar. It's recommended, just like any other network operation, that 3 people have access to it. But you know, I don't care what you set up on your unit's Google Calendar. So primary mission is to recruit new members. And we're marketing to the parents, not the cadets. Videos are a great way to engage people. And you notice that there's a lot of videos being used on the new websites. Here's what the admin portal looks like. If you've never used WordPress before, get my highlighter here. When you log in, there's a list or menu bar on the left-hand side. For you as a unit, really the only ones you're going to need to work on is pages, and you can add new, or you can edit, media, maybe a little under appearance to set your menu bar, and then your slideshow. That's really all that at the unit level you're going to need to worry about. If you're a more advanced user, you can add some additional plugins in. But as a basic user, those 4 areas are probably the only 4 you're going to need to worry about. And people ask me all the time, well, I don't know code. I don't know HTML. You don't need to. It's just like typing into Word or PowerPoint. You can see right here, you can hit bold. You can make things italic. You can quote stuff. You can add links easily just by highlighting the text and clicking the link button. It makes it really, really easy to manage. Kelly, I actually myself will be at the Wisconsin Wing Conference. I'm happy to talk to you guys about that when I'm there. Look for the guy with the beard. I'm pretty easy to find. Big camera and a beard. In reality, Wisconsin is going to be the last one of the last ones to transition to this, so you guys definitely have plenty of time. And we're going to be doing additional webinars coming up on the process. So this is just the first webinar of many that we'll be doing. Why did we choose WordPress? Well, first off, this is what national headquarters chose and hired a company to build the template on. I did not make this template. I did not choose WordPress. I love WordPress. I've been using it for many years, but I did not make these choices. So when people yell at me and say, Major Bo, you're a terrible person. How dare you choose WordPress? Or WordPress is not secure. How could you possibly make us use this? It's not me. National headquarters picked this platform. Now, yes, there is an HTML version of this. It's a static HTML version. I do not recommend it. If you have a very, very, very specific use case, it can come in handy. But here's the problem. The whole idea behind the templates is next week, national headquarters could change the background to purple. We could easily go out, redeploy the template to everyone, and now everyone's background will be purple. Not to say that they're going to do that, but that we need to have that ability. That's a major reason why we're doing WordPress. So I pulled up some stats. These are about a year old, so the numbers I'm sure are higher now. But WordPress runs on more than 23% of all websites out there today. Additionally, with WordPress, over 60% of sites using content management systems are using WordPress. I mean, the vast majority of people out there are using WordPress. Now, there's 3 parts to WordPress. You have the core code. This is what's set up when we actually install WordPress for you at the wing level. You as a unit will never interact with the code level. You also have the theme. CAP has a zipped file, it's a packaged theme, and we will take care of installing that for you at the wing level. So the code and the theme are already done for you. You'll be able to manage your pages, a little bit of the setup of it, but the base of it will be pre-built out for you. Now, plugins. Plugins allow WordPress to do additional things, such as there's plugin for contact forms and plugins for caching and SEO and slideshows and all that great stuff. We are going to be putting together a list of approved plugins. Now, the easiest way you can get yourself in trouble is to try to kind of skip around and get something for free. So there's 3 key safety tips to make sure your site does not get hacked. WordPress itself is very secure, but there's things you have to keep in mind. First off, you have to do maintenance. So with WordPress, they come out with different versions. Well, I think 4.2.2, I believe, is the current version. And you can set that to automatically update. And you also want to make sure your plugins are kept up to date. You need to do this on a semi-regular basis. And yes, at the wing level, I can log in and take a look and see if it's up to date. If we need to, I can push the update button. But the goal is you at the local level, every couple weeks, just log in and make sure it's up to date or have it set to auto update. Now, you only can use the CAP approved template. You cannot make your own template. You cannot customize the template. You have to use the CAP approved template. Wing will handle the installation of this template. There should be no reason why you're actually attempting to manually edit the template once it's set up for you. Now, this last one is how you get yourself in trouble. When there's tons and tons of free websites out there saying free templates, free plugins, get more visitors to your site by installing this piece of software. Don't do that. That will typically allow your site to be hacked and allow them to push out malware to your visitors. Only use CAP approved plugins, and we'll have an approved plugin list here very shortly. We only are going to use very well reputable plugins. We're not going to be using something that has 10 people using it. The plugins that we use have like 500,000, million, 2 million type people using them. They've been tested or used on many, many, many sites. Yes, Jim, and I completely concur with him. Auto updates are great. You want to have auto updates turned on because if there's any vulnerabilities, WordPress is really quick on updating the code and pushing that out. So by having auto updates on, it's just one less thing you need to worry about. No supplement is needed, Jeremy, because this has been dictated through the branding guide as well as the strategic plan. It probably will not need a regulatory update because all regs are currently on hold from being updated. So if you're going on a 6-week vacation, Jim, ideally you have someone else at your unit that can take a look and keep the website up to date while you're gone. You should have both your PAO, your unit IT officer, and the unit commander all need to have access to your website. Additionally, myself and, if you're in Michigan, myself as the Wing PAO and our Wing IT officer have access to the site as well. So we can help you if for some reason you're going to be out of town for a long period of time. But the sites are designed, the basic site is designed that if no one ever touches it, we have to update it when the unit moves or this commander changes. We've designed the site to be future-proof, essentially. Jeremy, we've not made the list of approved plugins yet, so if there's one that you'd like to see and like us to evaluate, feel free to drop me an email. Like I said, Great Lakes Region is the test for these new templates. Some other wings, some units have them already, but we're really the ones that are pioneering every unit, every squadron, every wing, every group having them. In reality, there's about only maybe 4 or 5 plugins you'll actually need for the public content. Before we pull up the site, since we're having some trouble with that, let me talk about the proposed deployment schedule. So right now we are on track for by June 1st of this year, all wing level sites, so the wing site for every wing within Great Lakes region should be on the new template. So basically in the next 60 days, all wings will be on the current template. Great Lakes region, Kentucky wing, Michigan wing, and Illinois wing are all already on the new template. Ohio should be by their conference coming up. Wisconsin, I'm going to be meeting with those guys this weekend to figure out their game plan. And Indiana is almost there. We just got a few little things to tweak on the site, and they'll be live. So it's really coming along nicely. It's ahead of schedule, which I like to see. By June 1st, all units within Michigan wing and all units within Kentucky wing will be on the new templates. Michigan wing, we've already started the rollout. We have probably half a dozen sites or units on the new one. We have 47 sites to do. That's assuming that every group, every unit has a site. So Kentucky, your 19 sites will be set up from scratch here, hopefully in the next month or so. By September 1st, all within Illinois wing and Ohio wing will be migrated over. So by September 1st, Illinois and Ohio wing will have the new templates. And then by November 1st, Indiana and Wisconsin will be converted over as well. Now, I'm going to be directly working with the wings to assist and help them deploying these sites. They can take 20 to 30 minutes each. The first time you do it may take a little longer after you get the hang of it. I did one the other day in 15 minutes, but they were a very basic setup. So there's some wiggle room there in how long they actually take. And we'll be working with you at the unit level. So if you already have a complex website, what we're going to do when we set the new one up for you is we're going to copy the information over from your publicly viewable pages to the new website. Now, if stuff's out of date, it's not current, it shouldn't be posted in the first place, we will not move it over if that's the case. We're only going to move over appropriate content. No, at least in Michigan, all other websites after June 1st will be unauthorized. So your current unit websites after June 1st will need to be removed. That's a hard date for Michigan Wing. So we got the Kentucky Wing website here. Brand new site. I just helped out their PAO the other day. Actually, he's an IT guy now. The other day, get this set up for them. This is a little bit different than the Michigan one, but gives you an idea. So at the top, you're going to have your standard tabs. We're eventually going to get a donate tab for them once they get their donation process set up. Remember, donations need to be approved by the wing commander. So if you are doing fundraising or donations, that has to be approved by the wing commander. So first off, you got their static page, you got the wing patch, they got a little bit of information, and then they have a video. So I'm going to play the video here real fast since a lot of people have never seen it.
Professional skills into the exciting program of mentoring in cadets a love of aviation, space, and technology. Cadets are encouraged to develop a lifelong habit of physical fitness because CAP handles 85% of mid-search and rescue missions across the nation, saving an average of 70 lives each year. You see, Civil Air Patrol Team cadets and adult senior members don't just develop character. Through selfless service to their community, they truly honor America. Learn more by visiting capmembers.com.
So that just kind of shows you an example. You see that video when you first come to our website, that's going to get you excited about Civil Air Patrol just right off the bat. And so we want to have video content right on that front page, right on that landing page they go to. You'll notice, and you've seen this on all the other sites, how to join is the very next link. Now we actually have another video here. We'll play that real fast.
Are tomorrow's aerospace leaders and today's cadets in the Civil Air Patrol, the auxiliary of the U.S. Air Force. In CAP, you'll learn to lead and push yourself to new limits. You'll get in shape, hiking and camping, and even have a chance to learn to fly. Become a vital part of the CAP search and rescue missions, saving an average of 70 lives each year. You'll develop character as you honor and serve America. Visit capmembers.com. These dedicated...
So while that is a similar video, that's the 30-second version. We want to replay, show that same imagery, that same branding multiple times, and that's going to start to stick in those cadets' heads at that point. We have how to join, multiple steps to do that. From there, we have, for example, a wing staff list. And they're all emailable, so if you click on something, it should email to them. They're working on updating this list right now, so you can build in the tables. You have your forms and supplements, and then you can have your different functional areas. One thing the template does not do, it's in process, actually I believe the newest version was just finished up, is the ability to do submenus. For example, you click on aerospace education and you get 4 or 5 things that drop down. For the unit level, it's not important. You don't need to be doing submenus or drop downs at the unit level. At the wing level, there is a place for it. So for the units, this will not become a factor at all because you won't even need to do drop downs. You won't even have the option to do them. At the wing level, we'll work on being able to put some of these tabs into a drop down. Yes, the social media buttons are editable to your unit, and when we deploy the site for you, we will customize that for you. Jeremy, drop-downs are not available for the unit level. The template does not support them, so you can't do them. So you have your different programs, say cadet programs here. So you have a mix of text as well as, hey, here's another video. And all these videos are available on the national website.
See how high you can fly with the Civil Air Patrol.
So I don't know about you, but every time I see these videos, I get excited about Civil Air Patrol. And that's one thing that you want your members, your potential members, to do as well. Okay, Craig brings up a great question, asking, WordPress has a blog-like functionality. All of these pages he's seeing are static. We recommend static pages only, and here's why. If you do a blog type format, you have to keep track of that 6-month time limit. There's a wing out there right now, I won't tell you which one, but there's a wing out there. If you go to their website, you can view orientation flights from 2009. If I'm a prospective cadet or prospective member, I could care less about orientation flights from 2009. I want to know what's happening today. That's why I highly discourage the blog format. We've not gone to the point of prohibiting it in writing. We may do that if it becomes an issue, but right now we're recommending static only pages. CAPmembers.com and CapVolunteerNow.com and GoCivilAirPatrol.com all take you to the same place. Over the next year, hopefully sooner, all of those are going to be consolidated into one place. These videos have been made over a couple year period. So yeah, eventually we're going to have a brand new GoCivilAirPatrol.com website where all those other ones will link to as well. You could potentially set up a blog. Are all the external links required? Not following you there, Jeremy. And Matthew asked for news if they could have a blog style. Yes, but keep in mind if it's older than 6 months, and actually in the new regulations it's going to be older than 3 months, you're going to have to take it down. So if you're doing a blog style, typically that's going to be not recommended. But I'm willing to take a look if you have a specific need to see how we could potentially incorporate that. Yes, quite a few of the links do redirect to other CAP websites. That's correct, Jeremy. For example, the 75th, well, actually we didn't update those yet. There's actually a whole website set by CAP for the 75th anniversary. And you'll have all your different sections. On the Wing website, and this is one thing I discourage people from doing, is do not list every directorate. Don't list something just to list them. If you have, for example, emergency services, they have very specific how to receive CAP assistance. Here's all of their links, their forms. Don't just put something up that says emergency services and then the ES officer is Major Joe Smith. Joe's phone number is 12345. That's boring, that's worthless, and it really doesn't need to be on the public-facing site. Only put stuff up here that's relevant to the public. Same thing goes, don't put up pages that say under construction. If it's under construction, don't have it listed in your menu bar. Plain and simple. You only want to have finished, polished, ready to go content up here. All the wing pages will have links to all the different squadron sites, and those will be links so you can click on one. It will link you over to the squadron site, as well as links to region and national websites. At the bottom, you have your social media icons. As I mentioned before, we will customize these. So almost everyone has Facebook, so we'll link to your Facebook as well as the Wing Facebook. LinkedIn will be the Civil Air Patrol LinkedIn account. There is no individual wing or squadron LinkedIn. It's just the standard CAP national account. And with Twitter, most units are not using Twitter, so we'll default it to your wing's Twitter account. Address, meeting address, and mailing address, you do want to make sure you have on there. If your mailing address is your home address, most people don't have an issue with it, but some people don't like that, so they may get a PO box or something like that through the squadron. That's up to you. I'm not going to recommend one way or another. My home address is all over the site, but that's my choice. That'll be up to you individually to decide. So yes, WordPress is the only option for units unless you're in Michigan. If you're in Michigan, you can use HTML for the time being. However, within a year or so, you won't even have the option there once we go to the new national system. So yes, all units, it's recommended that you use WordPress. The other catch is if you do HTML in Michigan Wing, you will not receive support from public affairs. You'll be completely on your own to update the site, and it must conform perfectly with the WordPress template. Looks like. So how do you access it to manage the page? So it's just yoursite.com/wp-admin. And that'll take you to a login screen. You'll have your unique username and password, and I'll just go ahead and click login. And now I'm on the administrator side. You can tell that because you'll have a black bar at the top of every page. And if I come here, I can click View Site. I'll get that black bar on this page as well. So if I come here to counter drug, and I want to edit this page, I can just hit Edit Page right here once I'm logged in, or I can do it from the back end menu. There must be multiple admins per unit. So at the bare minimum, you'll have your unit IT officer, your unit PAO, and unit commander will have access. Plus, you will have the wing IT and wing PAO with access as well. So anything that you can embed. So if you could embed Google Docs or Google Drive or something like that into a standard HTML site, you can embed it into WordPress as well. All WordPress does is it takes your link, what you're typing in, and it does all the coding for you behind the scenes. So for example, if I come here to post or pages, because we want to use pages, we do not want to use posts, we want to use pages, and I pull up, well, let me pull up the front page, the welcome page. So here is the visual view, and you see you have a little toggle here, so visual or text. So we got the wing patch, we got this, and we have the video. Well, you know what? If I want to view this page, I can hit View Page. And okay, it's centered. Okay, I like that. So we're good there. If it wasn't centered or it wasn't something I didn't like, I could change that. So this is the visual view. If I want to change to text, now we can actually do it in code. So you see I have it centered, the image. We have it centered, and it's in header 4 style for the text. And the video, we have it centered here. So all this is done. You have the code side, as well as the visual side. And most people will just use the visual side. And you can choose your heading types, bold, italics, if you want to put something in quotes, if you want to make a link. So if I want to make a link, all I have to do is highlight the text, click the link tool, and type in the link that I want it to go to. If you have internal pages, you can just click on one of those internal pages, and that will take you there as well. Now, Kentucky's added a couple plugins to give you some additional options up here in terms of some of the formatting and some table tools. We will look at pushing those out to units if they need them. Most people don't need that advanced functionality, though, but because it's the Wing site, they have a few extra bells and whistles that most individual units will not need. You have a list of all your media here, so all your pictures, all your content. So here's all the graphics we used on the site. You have appearance, you have your menu editor. This will let you change your menu, so appearance, menus, and now you can literally drag and drop if you want your Wing staff item to be first, or if you want how to join to be first. You just drag and drop. I don't want to make that change, so I'm not going to click save. I'm just going to click on anything else. And it's going to give me a dummy check saying, are you sure you want to leave? I want to leave, so that's fine. Now, for example, we want a way to group the pages. So we have, say, aerospace education here, and then we have reports and forms of publication for aerospace. And you see there's a little dash here. So if we come to aerospace education, and we'll actually view the page. So it's kycap.gov /aerospace-education. And we can see that if we come into the page itself, here's where we can set that URL. So you could edit that. You could just call this, say, AE, or you could call it aerospace, or whatever you want. Keep in mind, if you change that once the site's published, if anyone has linked to it, you will now lose that link. So you only want to necessarily change these when you're very first setting up the site. So we have that link here. Now if we click on, say, reports, and it's just going to add that next level on. So aerospace education /reports. And the way you do that is if we go back to all pages, and I pull up reports, the actual name is only reports. The way it's pulling aerospace education is the page attribute. So the parent page is aerospace education, which gives you that first slash. The second slash is unique to this page itself. It said there was a question, but I'm not seeing it in the chat. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so if you're in Michigan Wing, all you need to do is have your unit commander send myself and Leo Binchik, the Wing IT officer, an email saying that you want the WordPress site. Actually, in 2 days, it won't matter because the units have 2 days to make the decision on what type of site they want off the bat. And then I'll start pushing it out. And I'm just going in number order. So depending on where your unit number is, will be the next one in line to get it. So in Michigan, my goal is by the end of the month to have all the Michigan Wing units up and running, if not sooner. So give me a second here. I'm going to delete out some of these past questions, so that way it will accept new ones. And so while I'm doing this, is there anything else I can answer for you guys? I know this is a lot of information, a lot of Q&A, but we want to make sure we try to answer as much as possible. Okay, so yes, someone wanted to see how do you create a brand new page. So let me get rid of the chat here. So if you want to create a brand new text page, you come here to Pages, and you add new. And we're going to call this Test 123. Okay, so we come here and start typing in. This is a test page for the PAO Bootcamp. La, 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 la. You notice it does spell check for you as you type. And say we want to add a picture in, all I have to do is hit add media. And I've already uploaded the files to it. And say I want to use the 75th logo. So we just click on that. You can choose which size you want. Typically, you're always going to start full size, insert into post. Oh man, that's too big. Well, now all I have to do is drag it down, make it smaller. And no, that's still a little big. And you can see the dimensions here. When I hover over it, you see it's, say, 500 by 500. Well, let's try that. That looks good. And thanks, Glenn is on this conference call. I've not had the chance to publicly recognize him, but Glenn from Ohio Wing actually created all of the 75th anniversary designs and graphics. So I really like to express my own gratitude and thanks to Glenn for all of his hard work there. And we got lots of people in the chat saying thank you. So now that I created that, you see it automatically assigned it the URL, kywg.cap.gov/test123. To actually publish it, I can hit publish. If you want to just save it as a draft, you can save it there. You can change it to password protected if you needed to and throw a password on it. So say you had ES mission and you don't want it publicly viewable, you could set a password that the squadron knows, and now they can view that page. And publish immediately. We can hit publish, and the site's up. So if I click on the permalink, we can see, okay, here's the site, here's the graphic, looks good. Now I say, nah, it's a little bit too big. So I can come back here, and I can just scroll down. We'll say 350, there we go. Hit update. And now that's updated. The changes are already live. If I come back here, if I just click refresh, changes are made. But you notice it did not show up in the menu here. You actually have to add it to that menu manually. You do that by coming to Appearance, Menus. Here's your most recent post. Add to menu. It's always going to drop it at the bottom. We can leave it there. So just drag and drop if you need to change it. And then Save Menu. Now if I come back here and refresh the page, there we go. Test 123 is now in the menu. See the URL, we can link to it, we can share the page, you're all set. Now, I don't like this page. I made a mistake, I should have created it. All I have to do is come here to Pages, back into the menu, hit Remove, so now it's no longer in the menu. We can save that. And I come into Pages, and I can either search for it or just scroll through, Test 123, and I can hit Trash. Just like that, now if I come here refresh, it's gone. So refresh the page, it's off the menu bar, and the page does not exist anymore. So that's how you create a new page, how you develop content. Are there any questions here on anything we've covered so far here today? Yes, the slideshow is done through a plugin. What you do is you come here in Meta Slider, and here's your photos. You can drag and drop to change them. You can add additional ones in just by hitting Add Slide. You'll choose from your media library. Say we wanted to add this one. We'll Add Slider, and we want to make this the first one. We hit Save, and just like that, if we refresh the page, there you go. It's now been updated. But no, I really like that one as the first one. It was engaging. All I have to do is just drag and drop it, hit Save again, refresh one more time, and we're back to normal with the second one in the progression being that new picture I just created. Great question. Yeah, so some of this information, font sizes, colors are really, it's by default in the template. You have the different header sizes, but really that's up to the individual unit. Blue is the default and what we recommend. Size for pictures and the banners, it's really varies. It depends on what you are clicking on as to which one it will do. So, for example, this one, the top header, is sized to 1100 by about 380 is the size of the dimensions here. But yeah, we'll be publishing a how-to guide, yes. Again, I thank you all for taking time out of your busy schedules to attend today. We had a great turnout tonight. We had over 40 people at one point, which is really great to see. If you have any final questions, don't hesitate to put them in the chat box. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll see you at the next class and hopefully at one of the in-person trainings at some point in the near future. Have a great evening, everyone.